Hey everybody, First Frontier Forward. Rob Z with you as always, and today we've got Jack Zerby with us. Jack, how's it going?
It's going good.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
So
does everybody know that I'm your brother-in-law?
Oh, should we announce that? You want to make that public? My brother-in-law.
We are family, technically, and that's why your name isn't Rob Z for Zerby. Why is it Rob Z, actually? What's the Z? Wentz.
Yeah, the Z is for the last letter of my last name, but I think Zerby's a way cooler last name than Wentz, so I just decided to adopt Zerby.
Or is it like a menu item at Sheetz where it's like dogs and subs?
I'm right next to the Schmuffins on the menu. It's my face.
That'll work.
The strange time that we're living in right now, I think I wanted to get you on here because what you're doing with text message marketing, SMS marketing, is huge, and people really need this right now. And I guess before I jump into any of that, explain who you are, what you're doing, and the platform of textmessagetraining.com, what it's all about.
Yeah, I'll sort of frame my background in terms of training and education and online training because I've been involved with it for a while. Starting out early at Vimeo, I was the design director there at Vimeo for a while and did a lot of training, helping with designing sites for training, how to make better videos, that sort of thing. So there was some exposure to it there. But then a few years ago, I was a consultant for a whole year. My former business partner was the head of product at Teachable. So I worked with their product team, helped them with user interface stuff, user experience. They have 23 million students, 83,000 instructors. So it was a great chance to understand what the market leader is doing in this space as far as online teaching. And then I also have worked with Skillshare. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Skillshare since the early days. And so I have 4 classes on Skillshare, a little over 30,000 students on that platform. And then also started a online school called School of Action, where we trained a lot of Penn State students and then took that to students all over the world. And as I kind of explained our methodology, we have this methodology called doing missions. So instead of courses and curriculum, we have these things called missions, and we completed with these students, over 3,000 different missions. So all that kind of accumulated in what we do now.
And the world we live in right now, I mean, as far as being able to create a product online through like education and expertise, like it's something you can take with you anywhere you go. Because it's basically your knowledge, and you can use that as a vehicle to brand yourself, promote yourself, and help other people. And
I don't think it's even a choice, which is certainly the feedback that I've been hearing is people have been texting me, either past clients or new customers, saying like, I got to do this because we don't have a choice. If you're a fitness instructor and your gym shuts down, or you're a church and you don't have anywhere to, like, how do you engage your audience in your community? You have to do it online now.
And the reason you guys went to text message marketing, SMS marketing, is because the open rate, right? I mean, as far as like if you're going to go to a website, or if you're going to check a Facebook message or a Facebook ad or a YouTube ad, like when it comes in your phone, it's in your text messages. What's the percentage of open rate? What is that number? Do you know?
I wrote these stats down. So SMS messages have a 98% open rate, right? Compare that to email, which is like 2% now is a good open rate.
Yeah.
And so then text messages have a 209% higher response rate than phone, email, or Facebook. 90% of the messages are read within 3 minutes. And in my case, I don't respond. My wife gets mad at me because I don't respond within 3 minutes. So
that's called.
I don't think I'm taking that stat down. But then SMS marketing grew by 92% for B2Cs and 197% for B2Bs. So the craziest thing is you're starting to see it over and over again. Gary V. Who's the other guy? The motivational guy that you listen to, the big, he's like the Jack dude.
Jack dude. Ed Milet.
Ed Milet.
Yeah.
Their call to action, almost all their videos now is text me here, text me here, text me here. You're starting to see musicians do it. Text me here. A lot of these new big platforms are coming out with texting. And so it's going to be a thing if it's not already a thing, because we like to joke that marketers haven't ruined it yet. They will, but the great thing about text message platform is that nobody owns the platform. You build up an audience on Facebook, they can take that away if for some reason they don't like it, or they can change the rules. You can't change the rules with text messaging. Like, as long as you have their phone number and they have a phone, a flip phone, or it doesn't have to even be a smartphone, you own that audience now.
And I just think, as we keep getting more social media platforms and more messaging platforms, like, I find it really frustrating. Like, you have a message. Where did I get that message? Where did it go? Which platform is it on? Trying to find it. When you have it coming directly to text, all your stuff's in one place. And I find that very convenient. And I think for a lot of people, that's like, kind of the answer to conglomerate all of those into one spot where you're getting your messages. Now, hopefully it doesn't get flooded with thousands of people, blowing your phone up per day, but you can also opt out. That's another great part of text message marketing. Right?
Yeah. And what we always talk about is like, what's the learning environment? Imagine showing up to a high school class, a college class, or you're doing a seminar. Like, imagine if you did the Lit conference. And back in the day when the Logan Valley Mall was really popping, imagine if you said, hey, we're going to do it right in the middle of the Logan Valley Mall, right? You wouldn't do that because there's distractions, there's stores, there's people walking around looking. It's the same thing with saying, hey, you want to learn? Well, come on to my Facebook group, or log into Facebook, which is the #1 most distracting environment that you can get for learning.
You get lost immediately.
You get lost. Same with Instagram, all these other things. So how can you create an environment that's great for learning? And if you look at text messages or your own website, text messages, besides maybe your dad or mom or whatever texting you or friends, it's all very personal. Mm-hmm. So it's a very comfortable environment versus like sending into the crap fest that is Facebook feed.
Yeah, and having to worry about viruses. Like, if they send you to a website, you don't know what you're getting on.
Yeah.
So it eliminates a lot of those scarier kind of issues, I guess, that people aren't, it eliminates a lot of the questionable actions that might be happening.
No distraction, no noise.
Let me just share this real quick just so they can see what the site looks like. So if you go to textmessagetraining.com, this is the site. This is the front page. So you can go here and check it out for yourself, textmessagetraining.com. Make sure you check that out. Now, I just want to get an idea of, like, who are you working with right now? Just as an example, you're a Hollidaysburg native. Like, you're working with a lot of area businesses and organizations. Who are you working with, and how are they using this platform?
We use our customers are kind of all over the map right now. We work with some giant pharmaceutical companies, one called Novartis. We're working with their team over in Bulgaria, actually doing all their innovation training. So internal innovation. Same thing with Takeda. Anybody who's in pharmaceutical sales, I mean, Novartis and Takeda are some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And we're working with them to power their internal training. So not only is this a great tool for external marketers and trainers and stuff like that, but also for internal training for employees, onboarding employees, training employees on different, how to talk to customers. There's all kinds of opportunities for internal training because a lot of them don't really have any platform for internal training. It's like emails and blog posts and stuff. Yeah. So that's one example of how a big company can do it. Same thing with smaller businesses doing internal training. We're talking with an owner of a moving company now, and how he can use it not only to have people apply for a job through a text message thing, but then also once they get into the job, okay, well, how do what are the things that are involved in getting the truck maintenance and driving the truck and all these things? They don't have to download an app or sign up for another piece of software that they just get, and then they're overwhelmed by the technology. So those are internal things. And then also, and this is a market we didn't expect, but we worked with a pilot program with Calvary Church, which is one of the biggest churches in State College, a couple thousand members across all their network. And they've been using it to, if you look at a church, it's Sunday to Sunday, right? So what are you doing in between Sunday? A lot of churches are just sending out emails, but those emails don't really have any calls to actions and they get very low open rate. So what if you can engage your congregation, new and existing congregation, throughout the week with little challenges? For Calvary, it's a thing called Front Yard Mission. So what can you do to help your neighbors? And people go in there and they're doing these trainings like 2 and 3 times over again because it takes you through a certain amount of actions. And so that's been exciting with the churches. And then we just started working with some fitness instructors here, that fitness instructors also with home workouts, where you can get home workouts delivered right to your phone and be able to do workouts at home.
Yeah, that's huge. And the idea of like active training, right? So you're not going in and just having a course that's been pre-built and just kind of sitting there. You're being challenged, right? You're being followed up on. They're making sure the follow-ups there to make sure you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and there's 3 parts to active learning. And we found that, and even working with companies like Teachable and a lot of the other platforms out there, are taking the old model of what they used to call in college the sage on the stage model, where it's like, hey, get the super smart guy or gal, get them up on stage and just have them talk at the students. I'm just going to talk for 3 hours. And anybody who's been to college or a college class, half the people are sleeping.
Yeah.
And then you leave and you're like, wow, I learned something today. But you actually didn't learn anything, especially in business classes where you go in there, you're like, actually, I didn't build any business. I just learned how to have someone talk to me about business.
It's like watching a documentary. You watch a documentary. You're like, oh, I've gained so much from this. You don't remember. Yeah. You remember like 2% of what you watched.
And did you do anything, right?
No.
Did you? If you're a trainer, and this doesn't apply to every trainer. Some trainers are just like, I'm just going to put out my information and just make passive income, and I don't really give a crap what happens to my students if they actually do the outcome. And I'm an example of that. And I have 30,000 students on Skillshare. I have no idea if anybody of them have actually done anything with what I've taught them, right? So what does that mean for me as an instructor, and how can I improve my curriculum? I can't, because I didn't ask them to do anything. Therefore, I don't know if it worked or not. So we like to break it into 3 parts. You give them a prompt, very short. Don't give them a 4-hour video.
Right.
Give them a prompt, have them take the action and upload proof of them taking that action or something they learned while taking that action. And then the last piece of that is the insight. Now, this insight can be automatic, something you already typed in. So you say, you could say, hey, today we're going to learn how to do a push-up, right? So the prompt is, hey, here's a video just of the simple technique. Do the video, upload a video of yourself doing the push-up. Then in the insight, after they take it, it says, hey, great, here's some of the things. Thanks for taking action. Here's some of the ways that some people mess up push-ups, or here's how they do them correctly. That's an automated feedback, but then you could also do personal feedback. Mm-hmm. So where they complete the action, then you as the instructor can go back in and be like, hey, I noticed your back was a little, you can charge more for that. It's higher engagement, takes more time from the trainer. But we found that if you can give personal feedback, those people stay around forever. And I talk to fitness and trainers. I'm like, if you were to teach someone how to do a push-up, would you give them a 3-hour lecture on kinesiology and muscle connections and muscle mass? No, you'd say, do the push-up. And they would do it. And then you say, make sure your back is straight. And they'd do it again. You can't learn how to do a push-up without doing the push-up. So why are we taking that same model and saying, hey, for churches, hey, you should go help your neighbor and serve your neighbor because that's the whole foundation of Christianity. Okay, I learned, but did you actually go do it? Right? And so that's it's the cycle of prompt, action, feedback, prompt, action, feedback. And then you get people that actually get results and then they stay.
Yeah. And you build that relationship.
Yes.
And especially with like fitness, that makes a lot of sense. Even when businesses open back up, to have an online, like when your gym is just, relegated to the place where you live, and people who live within like 10 miles mostly are going to come there. They're not going to drive from like really far away. You start putting that online and you can start training online. And I also feel like that is a way, if somebody's afraid to come to a gym, it's intimidating, it's too much for them, doing it over text message would just eliminate a lot of those issues of the fear of going into a gym. You wouldn't have to. You get the training you need without ever having to step into a gym. There's a lot of benefits there for a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's so many fitness apps, you don't even have to compete with them. You just say, hey, text me at this number. I'll walk you through 10 different workouts or whatever, and they have them on their phone, and it's already inherently an archive. A text message is an archive, so they can go back up and do old workouts and stuff like that. So the advantage is,
for the business, are those videos and all that conversation also saved on your end as well, on the trainer's end?
Yeah. So on the trainer, you log into the back end and you see all the submissions that came through. And the great thing about seeing all those submissions is it's not just about getting people to do things. That's one piece of it, but it's also to be like, hey, I took 20 people through this workout and 18 of them had questions. They couldn't complete it because they didn't understand A, B, and C. well, now I can go back, improve that, and do it. If you had just put out workouts with 10 videos and you never got any feedback, then you wouldn't know. And then you're losing customers and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
You know, so there's the advantage. It's twofold. It's for the trainer and for the student.
It's like you get all that market research without actually having to do much research at all. It's kind of right there for you. So if a business wants to get involved right now, you guys have this up and running. Obviously, textmessagetraining.com is the website. Yeah. It's a fairly new platform. So this is like new training right now that's going on. It's kind of customizable, right? It's like early access happening right now.
Yeah, this is something we have our core platform, which includes the text message training, but also a totally web-based platform, right? So text message training is just one piece of that. So we're launching this text message training for early access users. You have to apply and you say, here's what we're doing. Here's how I want to improve. We answer any questions that you have. We'll put together a full demo for you so you can go through. And then based on the needs that you have, we come up with a customized pricing plan that fits, because we don't want to sell you things that you're not going to need. And you may not even qualify, like it may not even be a good fit. And in that case, I can recommend other platforms. So that's kind of how we're approaching it.
Yeah, and I think, Jack, like talking about this, the weird state of the world right now, the weird state that a lot of businesses are in, this is a chance to jump on board, because what I've noticed is a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, working with them through digital marketing and things like that, they didn't have enough time to do the things they knew they wanted to do to move their business forward into the new world that we're living in, right?
Yeah.
So they were stuck working on the business, or working in the business instead of on the business. Now with the allotted time that a lot of us have, extra time, you can create something like this. And with this platform, it's not hard to create. It doesn't take long to create. So it's a perfect opportunity to do it now, to start making money when your business is shut down. But once you reopen, you can start using this in tandem with your business being open. And now you're kind of, recession proofing your business, where when something goes wrong, you're still safe because you've got your online platform.
Right, because you can use it as an add-on or an upsell with your physical location or the physical service that you have. And just one thing you brought up, which I think is really important to understand, is a lot of these trainers think, and I've been guilty of this, where it's like, oh, I've got to have professional video. I've got to have all my script and my slides and all that kind of stuff. And I still am guilty of that. But as I've worked more with some of our customers, I've realized that you don't need to do all that stuff. In fact, some of the more successful courses that I've seen don't have any of that fancy stuff. In fact, the earlier you can get that training out, so if you did one track, we call them tracks, do one text message track, and just test it out with your existing audience and find out what works and what doesn't work. You don't need to spend, you could do it in an afternoon. Like, you don't have to spend all week. And I think that's what keeps people out of online learning, is like they think they need to prepare all this stuff. No, do something small and get out there and figure out what's working, what's not working.
Yeah, I fall into that category big time, because
it's hard not to, because you want to look good, but that's our ego that says we got to look good, instead of saying, how can I get results fastest for my students?
It's just procrastination when it comes down to it, right? I mean, it's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. So it's the slight edge, I guess.
Yes.
Cool, man. So this is great. I love it. And I think that a lot of businesses right now, and plus when you jump on board, right? I mean, this is not something that you're going to be hit with like, it's $1,000 a month to sign up for this thing.
It's very reasonable.
Yeah. You'll find that out.
Monthly, I can give you a range. So monthly, it can go from anywhere from $50 a month all the way up to $150, $200 a month. It depends on what you need. So it's still, we're not talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah, very affordable and very practical for any business to use, because I think it applies to any business in some way, shape, or form. So make sure you check it out, textmessagetraining.com. And the cool thing right now is, right, you're working, since it's so new, if you jump on board now, you guys are actually working with people and helping them tweak what you're doing to customize, because you're still in the learning process of making this a concrete thing that works for all.
We're doing what we preach, which is we got to get out the gold, and the answers are in your market. And so we're trying to get, to work closely with our market to understand what works and what doesn't work. And the cool thing is, my business partner, Anthony, has literally given feedback and has created feedback on probably up to maybe over 3,000 different missions. So he's a wealth of knowledge as far as, like, we'll give you the platform, but the difference maker is, can you write to get people to take action?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give you the platform. The platform really isn't on trial. What's on trial is, can you actually get people to do things?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we can help you kind of say, okay, well, we do it this way if you really want to get them to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. Very cool, man. All right. Thank you for your time. Thanks for doing this, because I think it's going to impact a ton of people. And I think you picked the right time to launch all this, because it's kind of lining up that people need this badly. So awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
See you.